The Ariel School Encounter, Zimbabwe, 1994. A mass UFO sighting that challenges belief. Among the vast catalogue of UFO sightings and alleged alien encounters, few are as disturbing, credible, and perplexing as the Ariel School incident, which occurred on September 16, 1994, in Ruwa, Zimbabwe. This case is unusual not only for the clarity and consistency of the reports but because the primary witnesses were 62 schoolchildren, aged between 6 and 12, who claimed to have seen a landed craft and humanoid beings, with some reporting telepathic communication. Unlike most UFO events, which rely on fuzzy video, radar readings, or lone testimonies, the Ariel School encounter is grounded in face-to-face, emotional eyewitness accounts. Over the years, this incident has been subject to investigations by psychologists, educators, journalists, and documentary filmmakers, and remains one of the most powerful pieces of anecdotal evidence in UFO lore. This essay will provide a thorough, evidence-based exploration of the Ariel School encounter, including first-hand accounts, investigations, skeptical challenges, and its broader implications for how we understand anomalous experiences. Underscore 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 1. Setting the scene, Ruwa, Zimbabwe, September 1994. Ruwa is a rural town in northeastern Zimbabwe, about 20 kilometers southeast of the capital, Harare. In 1994, Zimbabwe was still adjusting to a post-colonial identity. The Ariel School, a private institution for children from white farming and middle-class families, was known for its academic rigor and structured environment. On the morning of Friday, September 16, the school held morning classes as usual. Around 10 a.m., during a 15-minute mid-morning break, teachers were in a faculty meeting, and the children were left under the loose supervision of school staff in the playground. It was during this unsupervised recess period that the encounter occurred. Underscore 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 2. The event. Eyewitness testimonies. According to 62 students, something extraordinary happened. Many children reported seeing one or more silver, disc-shaped craft descend silently into a bushy area near the schoolyard, a patch of scrubland that children were forbidden from entering. Several of them described beings emerging from the craft, small humanoid figures, approximately 1 meter tall, with slim bodies, large heads, and black, almond-shaped eyes. These beings were reportedly dressed in black, tight-fitting suits. The entities moved strangely, described as floating or gliding above the ground. Most astonishingly, several children claimed the beings communicated telepathically, conveying messages of environmental concern and warnings about technological misuse. Some children later reported that the beings locked eyes with them, transmitting thoughts or images. One girl recalled receiving a vivid mental image of a dying planet, overwhelmed by pollution and human greed. Underscore 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 3. Immediate aftermath. Children's reactions. When the teachers returned from their meeting, they found the children visibly shaken, with some crying or distressed. Several students tried to describe what had happened. Teachers initially thought the children had experienced a mass hysteria or collective prank, but the consistency and emotional intensity of the accounts raised eyebrows. Teachers eventually contacted the headmaster, Colin Mackey, who began documenting the reports and asking students to draw what they had seen. Underscore 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 underscore. 4. Eyewitness drawings and statements. The children's drawings and oral testimonies were strikingly consistent. Nearly all depicted a disc-shaped craft. Most featured beings with large black eyes. The terrain and position of the sighting were nearly identical across accounts. Independent researcher and Harvard psychiatrist Dr. John E. Mack later interviewed many of the children. Mack, who had studied alien abduction cases, found the children to be sincere, consistent, and psychologically normal. He was particularly impressed by their lack of exaggeration, clarity, and genuine emotional responses. Underscore 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 underscore. 5. Dr. John Mack's investigation. Dr. Mack arrived in Zimbabwe weeks after the event, in November 1994. He interviewed dozens of the children, both individually and in small groups. These interviews were filmed, and many are publicly available today. Mack's key observations. The children were not seeking attention and showed signs of emotional trauma, especially when describing the eyes of the beings. They appeared honest and credible, even under gentle cross-examination. Many said they didn't previously believe in aliens and were confused or frightened by what they saw. Dr. Mack concluded that, regardless of the ontological reality of the beings, the children's perception of the experience was real and transformative. Underscore 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 underscore. 6. Supporting researchers and journalists. Before Mack, Cynthia Hind, a respected African UFO researcher and author of UFOs Over Africa, conducted the first investigation. She documented interviews and drawings from the children just days after the event, preserving a more immediate record. Over the years, numerous journalists, psychologists, and documentarians, including James Fox, The Phenomenon, 2020, have revisited the Ariel school case. Interviews with now-adult witnesses still show remarkable consistency, with many maintaining their original stories unchanged for 30 years. Underscore 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 underscore. 7. Skeptical explanations and counterarguments. While many researchers have taken the Ariel school event seriously, it has also drawn skeptical scrutiny. Common skeptical explanations include: A. Mass hysteria. Critics suggest the children may have influenced each other's perceptions during the unsupervised period. However, mass hysteria usually occurs in tense, highly suggestible environments, which wasn't the case at a rural Zimbabwean school during recess. B. Hoax or prank. The idea of a prank involving 60-plus children maintaining a detailed, consistent story for decades, across continents and into adulthood, stretches plausibility. C. Misidentified aircraft or balloons. No known aircraft could match the children's descriptions. Additionally, several children claimed the craft hovered or landed in the nearby brush, not behavior associated with planes or balloons. D. Cultural influence. Some skeptics claim the children may have been subconsciously influenced by media depictions of aliens. However, rural Zimbabwe in 1994 had limited access to Western television, and many children had no prior exposure to alien imagery. Underscore 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 underscore. 8. The psychological and philosophical implications. Whether or not the beings were real in a literal sense, the Ariel school case challenges conventional boundaries between subjective experience and objective reality. The children's sincerity, psychological health, and long-term consistency suggest a profound phenomenological event, one that altered their worldview and emotional lives. The encounter also echoes archetypal themes found in other close encounters. Messages of environmental concern. Telepathic communication. Appearance of small humanoids with large black eyes. These recurring motifs suggest that the Ariel incident may be part of a global psychological or cultural phenomenon, or something yet more mysterious. Underscore 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 underscore. 9. Where are the witnesses now? In the years since the event, many of the original children have grown up and moved abroad, to the UK, Canada, Australia, and beyond. Several have given interviews as adults, standing by their accounts and describing the lasting impact the experience had on their lives. In James Fox's 2020 documentary The Phenomenon, several of the witnesses appear on camera, visibly emotional as they recount the day. None of them profited from the story. None have retracted it. Underscore 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 underscore. 10. Conclusion. Why the Ariel school encounter still matters. The Ariel school encounter is one of the most compelling, well-documented mass sightings in UFO history. It presents a challenge to both believers and skeptics, as it occupies a unique space. Multiple consistent eyewitnesses. Immediate and long-term documentation. No apparent motive for deception. No clear rational explanation. Was it a genuine extraterrestrial contact? A moment of collective hallucination? A misunderstood spiritual experience? We still don't know. What we do know is that on a quiet morning in rural Zimbabwe, dozens of children saw something they couldn't explain, and decades later, they still can't forget it.